Hello, my name is Aaron Babcock. Welcome to Constitutional Republic News Now. So I'm out of Washington State. I'm a Trump supporter. My voting record was Bob Dole in 1996 against Bill Clinton. He was a World War II veteran. And he won this state and lost almost all the states in a landslide. But he kept the Constitution, and Bill Clinton did not. With the assault weapons ban, it violated the Second Amendment, which I voted on the spirit of our Constitution in America. Later on, I voted again in the Ron Paul campaign, and he had lost also. He was also a veteran and was for the Second Amendment, and lost to Mitt Romney, which we know is unconstitutional as well. And then Obama won that, and I voted for Donald Trump against Hillary Clinton. And she has a long list of unconstitutional things as well. So moving on, I voted for Donald Trump in 2020, and I'm voting for Donald Trump in 2024. The Biden administration has done many unconstitutional things that I disagree with. Trump had the Patriotic American Education executive order that Biden counseled, and I was very much into that American history, which would distribute the Constitution to Americans and keep our Constitution alive and well, so people's rights aren't violated all the time as they are, like in New York and elsewhere. So moving on, this video is about the assassination attempt rally. It's July, week and days before the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, and I'll try to keep this short. My prayers go out to the Trump family and our President Trump and all the people at the rally, and the person that passed away from the shooting and their family should have a voice at the Republican National Convention if they're willing. It's very important that they speak up for their loss. It's hard to be in front of a crowd. It's time not to be shy, but to lift your heads up and to let the people know how you feel. We can't bottle this stuff up. Victims of this rally and the people that were wounded in the hospital, the family should have a voice. It's very important. And if they're too shy in front of a crowd, please get another family member or friend that's close to speak for them to the United States at this convention. I think this Democratic Party is over with now. There's three things that need to be fixed about this. First off, in the school, this kid that was a shooter, becoming an adult, 20 years old. Witnesses say that he was bullied in school, kind of like the Columbine shooters on video. They were bullied into a point where they're ready to kill. And students need to watch out for this bully on these lone wolf rogue people. I seen it in my high school, bullies, and I knew a kid that was bullied massively and had a family later, seemed to be okay. I met him. He was a truck driver, and I saw him many decades later. He seemed okay, but when he had a divorce, he committed suicide. So things that are bottled up inside from being bullied, they can come out later, and it's very important to watch out for bully awareness. So number two, the police and Secret Service security has loopholes. Number one, during the Trump indictments, politicians, some of them, wanted to pull his Secret Service so he'd be in jail and basically die that way. It's gotten that bad. They really, with the amount of hate against Trump over the 6 years, it's gotten to the boiling point where they want him killed. They threw everything at him except the kitchen sink. So there are loopholes in the Secret Service because RFK, they're not giving him any security. He is a candidate for president of the United States. And the police were in slow response to the rooftops on securing that rally. Secret Service had some rooftops, but they're supposed to coordinate together on that type of security. Witnesses will let you know about how slow the cops were to the rooftop. It was just new cops arriving to the scene. I understand that, but when you pre-plan an event, rooftops should be very secure. Anyway, moving on. The media has done unending lies against Trump and cover-ups and edited films of the worst things about Trump. They never have a long list of positive things to each negative. It's always a majority of negative and rarely any positives on the left-wing media. They don't talk about the top 10 positive things about Trump, and I think it's very important to do that. So there's those three things need fixed: the schools, the media, and the government security of our presidential candidates. All have loopholes, and those three things all together fuel this assassination attempt, and it could have happened. So what we can do for a new political party, let's say I already talked about videos about a Constitutional Republic Party, a new one. Basically, it's a Republican Party. It's a new one. It's like a Whig and Tea influence. We'll get into that later. I talked about the Constitutional Republic, ethics and law. This is the party for the New Democrats. But I'm not talking post-JFK. A real Democrat Party that goes back to Jefferson and Madison when they were called Democratic Republicans with a hyphen. Republicans branched off from there, and because George Washington was a Federalist and John Adams was a Federalist Party, and it broke up the Federalist Party. Okay, so Andrew Jackson was one of the major beginners of the Democrat Party. James Polk was a protege when he had gained half the United States of land and bluffed Washington State from war with the British to gain it. So then you have Grover Cleveland, who rebuilt the gold reserves as a Democrat in New York. Very important nowadays. We need to do that because central bankers and all our enemies of America are stocking gold more than us. We have the most still, but they are gaining. And we need to compete against that if we're capitalists. If we're communists, we just let them win and don't stock any gold. And it's horrible. We need to start building 4,700 gold depositories in our country, 3,000 counties, every state, full of gold. $1 trillion worth would be a good goal. 200 billion per state. 5 billion per county is a good average. You figure out the numbers on that. 4,700 to honor Donald Trump. So that's what we can do to make America great again. It's back our dollar, our paper dollar, with gold and silver certificates again with value. So if there is a cryptocurrency crash that doesn't work out or a bunch of fraud that people are complaining about, we have a backup system. I'm not saying to ban cryptocurrency or digital currency. I'm saying get the gold going right away for 401k, at least for a backup. If Social Security runs out, we have a backup plan. Am I going to be the only hero if I had all that set up ahead of time? No, we all need to do it together as Americans. Start putting a little bit aside for silver and gold and start these depositories with great security, just as good as Secret Service. So even moving on, I was talking about the Democratic influence of the party. We have Jefferson and Madison. We got two that would respect the Constitutional Republic. We have, Andrew Jackson. We know about his Trail of Tears, but we also know he was a hero of Battle of New Orleans, which fought the British. Now, the British have a lot of common law influence in these blue states, like sanctuary. We got to get back to Constitution, naturalization, legal immigration. So, going to James Polk, he invited Native Americans into the White House for their redress of grievances, just like when Trump had the White House. He brought in people from all walks of life to the White House and gave a redress of grievances. Same thing. That's a good thing. Moving on, we got Grover Cleveland. The gold thing is one good thing about Grover Cleveland. And then, he ran in office, stepped out one term and came back. Trump's doing the same thing as a Republican, and he used to be a former Democrat. So, we get up to JFK. I'm skipping over FDR because the Democrats have been using his 3 triple term drama to be like kings in their blue states and give FDR a bad name. Now, FDR wasn't perfect. I don't like how he treated the Japanese Americans with his executive order. He also did other things with the banks, seizing some banks across the world during World War II. There was a lot of things I don't always trust completely about FDR. I loved all the generals that ran the war. I got all their books. And thank you, veterans of World War II and onward. But building a new Democrat Party, you want to go with JFK, clear back to Jefferson and Madison. And because JFK respected the Second Amendment and was probably going to get out of the Federal Reserve and start thinking about the banking industry a lot before he was assassinated. Very important. And during the Bay of Pigs, he took on communism, and that's the threat of today inside the United States and outside the United States. China has 350,000 farmland acres that we have to deal with. So we also would like to buy Greenland. That would be a really good purchase for trade and commerce. I hope Trump can pull that one off. We bought Alaska, and things went great. And I think it could go great in Greenland because the Russia threat, if you're so pro-Ukraine-Russia war, the Arctic Ocean, yeah, old Putin and the Russians, they're trying to always claim that for their trade and commerce towards Europe to Asia. So Canada, we can't always trust with the socialists that run that place all the time. But we can trust Greenland and Denmark. And I say give Denmark the land with homeless veterans, the 350,000 acres of American land. That could be part of the purchase. Is the reparations from COVID, from China, needs to give up that land in the United States to pay for it. And we don't owe them anything. Our debts are clear. And it's time to have a reset, new Democratic Party that is a Constitutional Republic, Ethics and Law Party. And we got a new Republican Party that I believe could happen, a Constitutional Republican Party. That has a lot of the Federalist Papers required in every department, in every state, and every federal department. If you don't read the Federalist Papers and Anti-Federalist Papers, well then, you should not work at one of those departments at all. It should be a mandated requirement. And I'm not even for mandates. But yeah, we are to a point to get rid of this corruption. We have to reinstitute the Federalist Papers as part of the intentions and interpretation of our Constitution in all these departments, because it talks about how to run departments and local subdivision governments, the county government. So it should be a requirement, just like the Constitution is our laws of the land, and we got to live with that. And we can live with that. I believe we can. We would have constitutional republic ethics and law enforcement when people in government are unethical, and we'll have a constitutional republic, enforcement as well, and it'll be good. It'll be like an internal affairs that the police have. When the police go corrupt, the internal affairs goes in, and it's good. So I warned people about rally infiltrators, and I hope people can keep those phones around the cameras. Thank you for everyone that goes to a rally, for your support for America. The vote is sacred. It was always about the vote to channel out people's frustration with government. It always has consequences on your vote. And now it is even more sacred now. So not just a mail-in. A mail-in ballot is not sacred, or a ballot box. I'm talking you actually physically go to the place to vote somewhere. Paper ballot, that's voter ID, the SAFE Act, Trump's executive orders on elections about sanctions and foreign governments interfering with our elections. All those documents are good for every state, and the RNC should have those documents spread out with our civil rights on voting as a packet everywhere. Jody Fetter, 2008, did a little primer pack on voting rights, except when I was reading it, it didn't have the 1971 voting rights in it. It had all the others in there. So don't forget the 26th Amendment, age 18, right to vote, just like selective service is 18. So that all those documents are very important. So anyway, the Democrat Party should have the same mobile platform that I talked about in previous videos. And I'll talk to you later. And that would be a good fundraiser, is Constitutional Republic platform mobile and gold storages. Thank you very much. God bless America, and God be with the victims of this rally and any other victims out there by mass shooters and these criminals that have been fueled by hate, whether the media or schools indoctrinated these kids into their 20s with a lot of this angry, restricted hatred inside themselves that fruitified later. So I love you guys. Talk to you later. Goodbye.